Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another client market update with myself, Adrian Pelligra. I hope you're all keeping well. I'm sure you're all breathing a bit of a sigh of relief as we look to get to hopefully what will be a nice, normal and relaxing Christmas in just over a month's time. And it's obviously really great to see that we're all heading in the right direction and we can really get back to everything that we were doing. There's been quite a bit that's been happening in the past few weeks, so I thought I'd just run through a couple of the key highlights and to give you a bit of an overview as to really where we see things coming up to the end of the year. So I've highlighted a couple of quick things here. Firstly, we're seeing a resurgence in the coronavirus, mostly in the Northern Hemisphere, mainly America and Europe. So they've got quite large second waves. They are about to get into winter. They are having waves that are actually in excess of what they initially received in the first wave. And now many European cities have enacted stricter lockdowns than what they actually had the first time around. So pretty concerning things, I guess, happening over there. Obviously, probably the very biggest one in the past week or so has been Biden's victory in respect to the US election. However, the Republicans did quite well in a sense in terms of strengthening their numbers in the House and also retaining the Senate majority. Now, there are 2 seats up for grabs in the state of Georgia in January. And if the Democrats do win those, they'll be able to actually tie break the Senate, but then use the vice president's authority to basically give the Democrats the upper hand there in the Senate. So that will be very interesting because that will mean the difference in terms of Biden being able to, I guess, get through his mandate as opposed to some stonewalling over the next, say, 4 years. Vaccine promises and numbers and results coming out, phase 3 trials, all those types of things. Pfizer come out and release a trial saying that, there's a 90% effectiveness to what, they've been testing there. So there's some pretty promising things coming out. It will be some time before things get rolled out and whether or not this does get approved. There are also, quite a number of other companies out there in stage 3 trials. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with that, but obviously very promising and has definitely lifted the spirits for quite a few people around the world. Stimulus has also been a very key thing. So here in Australia, the RBA has reduced the rates to 0.1%, and they have stated that's going to be at least for 3 years. So it's quite significant that not only have they done that, but more importantly, they've now announced quantitative easing, something that we've always kind of heard and saw in markets overseas, but now doing so here. So $100 billion of bond buying is, quite significant, and this is really going to be, pumping a lot of, cheap money out into the system there. On top of that, we've got tax cuts from the government that they brought forward, and that's quite a leg up for the majority of people. There's been at least a few $1,000s into everyone's pockets there each year. So these are all quite important things and what the market wants to see to get people up and running again. So markets have reacted, quite favourably to these things that I've just mentioned. They were tracking a bit sideways for a couple of months, and that was really, I guess, because it was taking a bit of a breather from the strong rebound that it had from the lows earlier in the year. With the results of the election, the vaccine outlook, the stimulus, all these things combined have really exuberated markets a bit, and we've seen quite a leg up in the past couple of weeks there. There are a lot of commentators saying that this will, continue through till Christmas. Obviously, anything can happen between now and then, but it's starting to see, I guess, a rosier picture in that respect moving forward. Just to go back to touch on a bit more about this resurgence in the coronavirus, and this is a great visual in terms of what I was speaking about before, that the second peaks or the second wave that we're basically going through right now has definitely indeed far exceeded the initial. You can see some of the key countries there, like the UK, United States, Italy, and France. They're definitely resurging much higher than where they were. So it will be interesting to see where that peaks out, especially that they are not even in the peak of winter yet. So I think that will be a very interesting thing to see how governments react and how I guess the populations actually I guess cope with what's happening there. From an equity market perspective, this is a real key thing to, I guess, get a good visual as to where the markets have been tracking for this calendar year to date. So these are some of the key markets here, and what I really, I guess, want to show and have the key takeout for yourselves is the divergence that is happening around the world, whether it's countries or sectors or specific businesses. There is becoming a wider and wider divergence between the winners and losers, and it is extremely important moving forward that we now make sure we have the right strategies. So we can see the likes of the top 600, the top 600 European businesses. So in the light purple there, which you can see is now about 10% behind where it was at the start of the calendar year. The next one up from that is the ASX 200, so the top Aussie listed businesses. They are just that little bit better in terms of the calendar year performance. Probably we're back still about 7-odd%. But then you start to see the likes of the top 500 Americans, so that's in the red, the Chinese in the orange, and then the tech-focused NASDAQ American market there. So you can see they're all in the positive. So the top 500 S&P is about 10%, the Chinese are pushing 30%, and the tech stocks are actually above 30% up on where they were at the start of the year. So you can see how they all kind of tracked together, for the first couple of months of the year, and that's pretty much been, I guess, the story to an extent before all the coronavirus. We had quite a big pullback, and now we've had such a divergence in performance, and you could have businesses that have performed extremely poorly, whether they've lost 50% of their value, and then you've got other businesses that have gained 50% of their value. So there's just astronomical divergence in respect to performance there, and to where we're going to start to see growth and return possibilities in the future. So what's ahead? We've got economic data continuing to indicate the global economy is actually recovering. So numbers do seem to come out better than what people, I guess, predict or forecast. There's manufacturing activity, consumer confidence, retail sales. All these things that really give us an indication of how, I guess, worried or certain or confident people are moving forward. Obviously, I've always got a few concerns. The next 2.5 months is going to be quite crucial. Always the big unknown is Donald Trump, and he's got 2.5 more months of free reign in the White House. So it'll be interesting to see what documents he signs or things he does, and how difficult of a transition he makes it for Joe Biden coming in. These are all very important things, and markets will be following that. As we talked about the COVID case in the Northern Hemisphere, how bad is it actually going to be getting? How is it going to be affecting their economies? There's continuing trade tensions, as we can see. Australia and China, they're having more back and forths. Does that escalate? Does that alleviate? Those will be key things for us. We're talking about as well in the US, back and forth with trying to get new stimulus. The Republicans think, oh, everything's tracking okay, whereas the Democrats still think that there is a need for stimulus. So that will be an interesting thing to watch. And then lastly, of course, is the vaccine. So, will there be an efficient, highly effective vaccine out there? What will the rollout be like? How long will it take? How well will people, I guess, get onto this? So these are all very important things. We've actually got a webinar coming up, which is going to be more in depth, and it's going to be hosted by our investment team. And that's going to be coming up in the next few weeks. So look out for the invitation for that via email if you are on our mailing list. Otherwise, please contact me if you'd like to get further details on that. You can see my email there is on the screen. It would be great for yourselves to join us, because that will definitely be a very insightful view as to where we're at, what we're thinking from I guess, an investment strategy perspective, and where we think things are going to be heading moving forward. So I'll leave it at that, guys. It's once again great to see that there are starting to become some more positives in the world. We will now see what's going to be happening in the lead up to Christmas. Otherwise, to wish yourself and your families all the best of health, and enjoy your Christmas when it finally comes around. Take care.